Welcome to RedditDen. Sit back, relax, and get ready for r/AskReddit. What's the most ridiculous fact you know? There are 12 flowers on an Oreo. I probably wouldn't know this, but I got this question at 2 different trivia nights. The number 1 buyer of explosives in the world is the US military. Number 2 is Disney. If you stand at the base of the clock tower in London, commonly called Big Ben, with a digital radio tuned to the BBC, you'll hear the sound of the bell striking the hour via the radio before you hear it live. In other words, sound travels faster digitally from the microphone in the tower to the BBC studio to their transmitter to your radio, than it does analogically from the bell to you. Apparently in Korean fairy tales, instead of saying once upon a time, they usually say back when tigers used to smoke. And it apparently comes from a time in which tobacco was so cheap that literally, everyone used to smoke. One of the oldest tablets from Mesopotamia is a customer complaint. There is even a whole collection that was discovered. So some dude did a terrible job trading copper and kept all the complaints he got about it in a room specifically built to house the complaints. Your intestines know how to get back in the right place. When doing abdominal surgery and the intestines need to be moved or rearranged, the doctor will just stuff them back in. They will then wriggle back into place. Can confirm. Mine had to be hosed down when my appendix exploded and the surgeon said they just stuffed it all back in, and I've been pooping like a trooper ever since, so I'm assuming it got its shit together. Also, if your organs are out of place during surgery, there is a fraction of a chance your body will think that organ is gone and will try to compensate by filling that space with fluids. Source: me. Had back surgery where they go in from the front, had my organs moved around. After about a week or so I was discharged back home. That night I went to the bathroom, coughed, and what turned out to be the fluid mixed with blood started pouring out of my incision area. Ended up back in the hospital, and after about 2 months of draining, it finally stopped filling up. Was by far the worst 2.5 months of my life. Rhinos have only 5% body fat, and that fat I'd stored on the bottom of their hooves, which makes them effectively silent even at full sprint. This is both astounding and terrifying. Imagine walking along at night and getting horned out of nowhere by a full-size truck you didn't hear. Pearlfish live in the anus of sea cucumbers. Anal beads of the sea. That when the Milky Way and Andromeda collide, even though they both have hundreds of billions of stars, the likelihood of any 2 stars colliding is astronomically low. Everything is unimaginably far apart. Edit. Credit to you/Dodge Wars bringing up the fact that stars are more concentrated in the middle of the galaxies, so collisions are more likely. If any astrophysicists are here, please chime in. Also, Kurs Jesik's latest video said that gas clouds from both galaxies will likely collide, reigniting star formation, which is at an all-time low. A human body can produce enough carbon upon cremation to make 200 pencils. You can be your own souvenir at your funeral. Sounds like a good way to set yourself up for some kind of weird soul magic if you ask me. I don't trust bitches not to write some weird voodoo spell with my bone pencil and summon my soul to do their bidding. If you smell fish and no one's cooking, it's an electrical fire. Can confirm. I read this somewhere, so when I started smelling a rather fishy odor that I couldn't tie to anything, I started sniffing various electricals and realized my electronic knitting machine was dangerously overheating. As I would have left it on overnight to avoid losing the place in the pattern, I'm very glad I read that random piece of info somewhere. Nearly half of the losses in the Battle of Penang 1914 were prostitutes caught on the sinking Russian cruisers Mchug. Hookers on naval underwater vessels should be called substitutes. The singer of Peanut Butter Jelly Time died in an 11-hour police standoff during which his brother-in-law, Snoop Dogg, attempted to calm him down and convince him to surrender. He died in 2002? How did I not know this until now? Because it hasn't been Peanut Butter Jelly Time since then. Your eyes have a different immune system than the rest of your body. If they knew about each other, your eyes would basically start dissolving, as your immune system attacks your own eyes. Fear not, your brain won't let that happen. Excuse me, what the F? Basically, your eyes are their own closed containment inside your body. Your regular antibodies would treat the jelly material of your eyes as a foreign agent and flood that area with white blood cells so hard your eyeballs would just dissolve into pus. Now tell me the name of a disease that makes that happen so I have another thing to be scared of. Reply to. Tell me the name of the disease that makes that happen so I have another thing to be scared of. Being hit in the eye with a rubber bullet. If they don't remove the busted eye fast enough, your immune system will attack your other eye and you'll lose it too. Brilliant. Diseases and rubber bullets. You know how when you eat a lot of fresh pineapples, Your mouth and tongue can get tingly/hurt for a while. Pineapple has an enzyme that digests other proteins, so when you eat pineapple, it eats you back. The horned lizard in general is ridiculous. Its first few lines of defense are normal. Camouflage, sharp horns, being faster than smaller prey, the usual defenses. Then it will lift its tail to try and entice a predator to attack that before its head, which they usually will since it has much less armor, so that they can be yeeted away since it's crazy easy to detach, and if all else fails it'll jam its face into the predator's mouth hoping it doesn't bite down before firing blood from its eyes that tastes poisonous to freak out the predators and give them time to run away. The last Civil War pensioner died in 2020. She was the daughter of a Civil War soldier who received disability payments as a child of a Civil War veteran. She was born in 1930, 65 years after the war. A lot of the last remaining vets in places like Appalachia hit hard by the Depression married much younger women who became entitled to their husbands' pensions. Many of these marriages were simply on paper and done as a way to provide nursing care for a 90-year-old man with no family. But the birth of this lady shows these marriages weren't always for show. Jerry Parr was the Secret Service agent who grabbed President Ronald Reagan and threw him in the car when John Hinckley shot the president. He covered Reagan with his body on the way to the hospital and is credited with heroically saving Reagan's life. Parr was initially inspired to join the Secret Service by a movie he saw as a boy called Code of the Secret Service, which starred then young actor, Ronald Reagan. The fastest object man has created is a manhole cover. Wasn't that the one which got launched by an explosion from an atomic bomb and they never found that thing, so they assumed it just launched off into space? Well, they assumed it was incinerated. Until they repeated the exercise with a high-speed camera and realized it was going so fast it didn't have time to burn up in the atmosphere before it went to space. So yeah, not only is a manhole cover the fastest object man has produced, but it was also the second fastest object man has produced. Wasn't it also the first thing that we sent to space? Imagine 1,000 years from now being an alien on a different planet and one of our manholes falls through your atmosphere and lands on the planet. They might think it's some magical alien artifact. Wow, you're right, Sputnik 1 wasn't launched until October 1957 while the first manhole cover was sent in August 1957. Though I'm not too sure the aliens will be happy about it landing on their planet. The thing was moving at over 160 times the speed of sound, so fast that it didn't have time to encounter air resistance. If it happens to land on a planet, I don't want to be near that planet. Edit, I'm an idiot. Of course, it encountered air resistance. I think I was trying to say it was moving so fast that air resistance barely had time to act on it, thus it didn't really slow down due to air resistance. Sorry for being stupid. Thanks for getting cozy with RedditDen. Please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more content. Comment below if you are cozy enough to tell a story.